I am Jim, aka Argent Wind, and we are here for DM&D chat here on the Temple Tankard YouTube channel. We are doing something a little different today. We are actually pre-recording this episode, so we don't have a live chat or anything else in this one here. So if you're watching this in the future, please throw us a like there and make some comments about what we're talking about here. We can pick it up and have a little discussion in our comment section on the video. But this will be posted. It should be posted at our normal time, which will be tomorrow. So in the future, hello from the past, I guess.
Yeah.
So here with Nans as always, as we are continuing our class act series, and this week we are talking about our holy warriors, the Paladins. Um, I know this is Nans' favorite class, right?
It's
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
my favorite class.
Okay. I will admit I've dipped into Paladin a little bit here and there, but I've never actually played a true Paladin. Uh, it's been one of those things that, having come from the old school D&D where you had to be lawful good and you had to be like so strict on what you couldn't do, and Paladins were just sort of like fighters with a little bit of extra stuff, so a little bit of clerical abilities. Um, but not quite as good as either. So yeah, it was a little bit tough, and role playing them made a challenge there. Over time, they started to change that and making variations of paladins. I remember the days of Under Arcana when the other alignment paladins all came out instead of just lawful good. Had like a neutral good paladin, a chaotic good paladin, and a chaotic neutral paladin. And I think it was actually a Dragon magazine that actually like detailed all the different paladin types in there, and it kind of became official after a while. But now with fifth edition, of course, we have our different oaths, and it really opened up paladins to a lot more fun role playing and a lot more abilities that kind of made set them apart from other classes. What's been your favorite oath so far?
I like two oaths: the ancestral oath and the oath of devotion. Oath,
Gotcha.
the
Devotion
oath
on
of
you.
devotion's real nice because it's like, how devoted are you to that specific deity? But I recently found out it doesn't have to be to the deity; it could be to your party. So, how
Yeah.
devout are you to your party and to your specific beliefs outside of the deity? And
And that
yeah,
brings up, yeah, go ahead.
that
Yeah,
was
that
real
brings up,
fun to play through. It was real fun to figure out how to character develop around that. It was a blast.
Mhm. Absolutely, and that brings up a really important distinction for paladins in the current state they are here. They are not necessarily divine. Well, they had divine abilities,
Mhm.
but the source of their ability does not have to come from a god. They comes from their oath, and their oath is sort of what makes them what is a sign of their devotion, a sign of what their abilities are going to focus around, and it really makes the paladins very very different from one another. Um, so they don't have to be holy. We always talk about being holy warriors, but like a paladin of oath of the crown literally can be sworn fealty to a country or to a king or to someone else like that. So oath of crown, not necessarily. Oath of Ancients is more of a nature-based paladin. You are a defender of nature and of natural orders of things. Um, yeah, the paladin I was a dipped into paladin of, I believe it was devotion as well.
Mhm.
Um, I was a battlemaster fighter paladin of Helm. So the so I almost went Watcher because of Helm being the watchful eye and everything else.
Mhm.
Um, but Devotion ended up working for I only went like 4 levels into it, so it wasn't like I was deeply going into Paladin in that case. Um, so Oaths kind of get around your code of conduct. It's more about like who you are as a paladin. And so, as I mentioned, they can be sworn to a person, a nation, a god. The main thing is you're living up to an ideal of some kind. and the different O's all talk about what their focus is. Um, have there been any paladins that so you had a paladin that devoted themselves to a party? Have there been any other paladins that devoted themselves to weird things or odd things or?
I had one who said that he wasn't going to tell me who he was swearing his devotion to, um, until he figured out what it was going to be. So the way he role played it was a weird feeling from an unknown entity was guiding him along his way until we could figure out story-wise what that entity was. Turned out the person was trying to play more of an evil character than a normal chaotic gremlin that we love to have for our paladins. So because he was playing more of an evil one, we decided that the the deity that he was going to be worshiping or getting his energies from was going to be the beholder, the BBEG of the whole game. So
Oh,
it was
neat.
quite interesting when he had to go and face his own deity as the final
Oh
boss.
no,
Yeah, yeah, that was interesting.
no doubt. Yeah, so it can be the idea of being sworn to a powerful creature like a beholder or a dragon.
Mhm,
Not necessarily a dragon god, just a powerful dragon.
mhm,
Um, I can I've thought of paladins that have had odd oaths in the way of like paladins of glory are a great one here. They can be a paladin of glory makes a great like paladin bard multi-class because the whole idea of like I am the center of attention, spotlight on me, I am the coolest thing ever, and the whole thing about it is like making their presence known. So a paladin bard that's a glory paladin
mhm,
so works well together. Um, so yeah, so with the paladins, I mean, they've opened up so many more types of paladins. It was like before it was like I am the holy warrior of good butt kicking for goodness,
mhm,
and
mhm,
then now like you got I am trying to redeem myself. I am trying to I am a paladin of conquest. I want to rule. I want to draw in people and make them listen to me. Oath of Vengeance makes some great paladins here. Um, favorite multi-class is Oath of Vengeance with Rogue because you just say, "You, I have advantage on. I will sneak attack you every round."
That just
So the
sounds
idea,
gross.
it's just like, "Yep, my vow of enmity is on you, so I will sneak attack you every single round until you die." So, um, so some fun combinations there. Um, So, some pop culture paladins. At first, I was having a hard time, and all of a sudden, it just the floodgates kind of opened up.
Mhm,
Characters who maybe not necessarily their powers or abilities are directly paladin, but the way they do things, and they definitely have an oath of some kind. And right off the bat, the poster child for paladins in pop culture, there's Captain America,
yeah, yeah.
which
Mhm,
works as a glory paladin or a crown paladin, really, because glory paladins are also sort of the leaders of the group there. They kind of have that inspiring presence and they get kind of commanding presence to everyone around them here. Uh, glory paladins also have the fun things of having their channel divinities focus around peerless athlete and inspiring smite. So yeah, I mean, Cap definitely is an inspiring as a peerless athlete. And the R of alacrity, the guy moves faster than a human's supposed to be able to move. Obviously, with the super soldier stuff there. So you definitely see some fun aspects in that here. But Crown works too, in that you're swearing to a country or swearing to a team
mhm,
works as well in terms of like that for Crown. Um, and the rules kind of the guidelines for Paladins they do put down some fun tenets for each oath.
mhm,
So they can be like law, loyalty, courage, responsibility. Those are the tenets of the crown paladin. Um, the ancients kindle the light, shelter the light, preserve your own light, and be the light. It's all about like basically about safeguarding the living and nature and such. Where you have redemption, peace, innocence, patience, and wisdom. It is that you're trying to make up for something you've done in the past, or trying to right some wrong that's been done in a way. And the idea of having that, you're taking a new path of some kind. So redemption often is a pacifist paladin in some
Mm-hmm.
ways. Um, but so yeah, Cap definitely either glory or crown. I can see either one working there. The poster child for Vengeance Paladin. At first, I was going to say Batman. I'm like, no, no,
Mm-hmm.
no, no, because Batman, he's definitely a rogue fighter. He's not like he's about he's not about vengeance. He's about taking down criminals. And he has a code versus killing. But a true vengeance paladin through and through, Punisher. That
Yes.
man is on a mission. He is going to take things down
Mm-hmm.
and right the wrongs that have been done,
Yep.
by all means.
I also put Ghost Rider up in that category as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
So
mean, he is a
like,
spirit of vengeance.
yes, he
Yeah.
is 100%. But like later on in the series, I almost want to go say he became an oath breaker because he did change quite drastically and did some things that he's not
Mhm.
so much proud of. But then he became, the redemption paladin near the end of his arc. So it's
Sure.
he went through the whole range of what kind of paladin he could be.
Yep. And that brings up a really good point here. We're talking a little bit here is the idea of changing an oath. Beyond just Oathbreaker, there's some fun little role playing things we can talk about here in a little bit here. Because some of these characters, they have some very interesting changes over time.
Hmm.
And I am very much of the opinion that if a character's story goes in a certain direction, the idea of them being a paladin, they may not necessarily have to become an Oathbreaker to
Right.
change their oath. They could change in a different way. And I have a perfect example of that coming up here in just a minute here. Um, watch Oath of the Watchers, Paladin. Um, these are the ones that very much fight against undead extraplanar creatures and like that. Their ability is all around like dealing with that. And so of course you have the Winchesters, Sam and Dean.
Gotta love
They
them.
are absolutely Order of the Watch, Oath of the Watchers,
Hmm.
Paladins.
Hmm.
Those guys are all about taking down what goes bump in the night there. And they're not sworn to a god, obviously. They are their oaths are to protect and to destroy things that are going to hurt others. So very much there. And shifting, same kind of thing there. Uh, um, though this person's more of a wizard, but what he does is very much a dip into paladin. I think there is Harry Dresden from the Dresden
Ah,
Files.
Dresden Files. Yep.
He absolutely is fighting evil, and he takes that oath very seriously. So I could see Dresden taking a few levels in paladin. Oath of the Watchers would work really well for him, I think. Um,
Mm.
and Devotion Paladin, um, also very much an undead hunter, kind of like that. They have the channel divinity for dealing with undead. Van Helsing.
Oh yeah. That's just a given. Yes,
Yeah.
most definitely. Did you watch The Librarian?
Oh boy,
Noah
is that the
Wiley?
no Wiley? Yeah, 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 yeah.
I
I saw some of that. Yeah.
he's all three movies, he's very much the paladin. At first he starts off with the clunky, I don't know what I'm doing. You put a spear in my hand. What do you want me to do with it? It's just a pointy stick to me until he learned his ability to do it. And then he became about protecting the library. So his devotion
Nice.
came to the knowledge of the library, which I don't know that that is one, but that would be a
Hmm.
really cool one for a paladin, paladin of knowledge.
Sure, sure. I see that.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um,
May have to make
yeah,
a new paladin class.
maybe. Um, nice. Yeah, I like that one here. So paladins can be villains.
Hmm.
They make very interesting villains here, and I got a few of them right off the bat for you.
Hmm.
Is a two-parter here. Um, Emperor Palpatine, Paladin of Conquest.
Hmm. Hmm.
He is all about taking over there, and his right-hand man, the Oathbreaker himself,
Hmm.
Darth Vader.
Hmm. Yep.
Absolutely. He is sworn to an evil power. He was a paladin, obviously a Jedi. Jedi make good paladins in some ways here, at least dipping into some of their abilities. Um, but the idea of that fallen paladin, I mean, Darth Vader is a classic example
He
of
is.
that. Another villain paladin. The Oath of Ancients, Poison Ivy. Her, I mean, look at the Oath of Ancients. There is all about like it's very much the druid paladin. And Poison Ivy doesn't. She doesn't. She could work as a nature cleric. A druid, she doesn't do wild shape or anything else like that, so she doesn't quite work as a druid there. But look at the ancient Oath of Ancients paladin. One of the things is calling up vines to wrap around people and restrain them. Um, I could definitely see her doing that in some way to mess with their opponents. Um, and then, and this gets into we'll give you some ideas of villains here. Is that the villains often remember that paladins serve an ideal of some kind.
Hmm.
So sometimes those villains are serving an ideal or a person. They are swearing themselves to an evil person, so they're doing evil things, and so they're still very much a paladin, having those abilities, but they're taking a more twist to them. Paladins can often be fanatical, and so those fanatic followers, paladin cultists make sense, especially as leaders of lieutenants in a cult,
Hmm.
following somebody there, and yeah. So those villains, paladins do make some interesting villains at times. Have you made any villain paladins in your games?
I have not made any villain paladins that I intended to make, if that helps. Um,
Sure.
yeah, the players turned him into a villain, and I kind of just ran with it after that point because at this point, what? Why change the players' fun? They're having fun making him a villain. Great, I'll just leave him as a villain. Um, you know him. You called him Brad Chaddington. he
Oh, good. Yes. Okay.
he did not in the first season of My World. He did not start as an evil paladin. He started out fairly well, really good. The players turned him into an evil paladin, so I just ran with it.
Great.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I just ran with it from
Yeah.
there, and it was good.
Sure.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
yeah. They're real hard to
Um,
play though because you all when at least I do when I was thinking paladin, at least for that particular character, I was not thinking evil. So it was really hard for me to go from this is just a guy trying to help you pick up a few quests to get some money under your belt to now he's going to be a boss that is at some point going to be getting in your way. And I went, well, I don't know how to be an evil paladin. I've never wanted to be an evil paladin. Like evil campaigns are hard for a reason because it goes
yeah.
against your innate human abilities to be evil to other people. So yeah, it was rough.
Yeah. It's interesting. Dealing with villains. I mean, it's so easy to just be like a big monster that's attacking someone there, but to have an actual villain who's got motivations, who want to do things that are bad,
Mhm.
obviously players need to stop that. But it's not something that all of us can really just settle into. Being a villain, but I would say like look to your classic villains. I mean, the Emperor and Vader
Mhm.
are perfect examples of just straight up villains. Lex Luthor, complicated guy, but he's definitely a villain.
Mhm.
I wouldn't put him as a paladin necessarily, but he's more of an artificer who's
Yeah,
uh
yeah.
because
I
he's always
put
building big states through that. But that kind of mentality of
Mhm.
like, I am in charge. I am the most important person here. You will listen to me and do what I say. And that's kind of that megalomaniacal, in a way, a conquest paladin kind of fits that really well. I will be in charge. I will rule.
Mhm. I did
Yeah.
Doctor Doom for my evil paladin.
Mm, that's a good
Because
one. Yeah.
he started out as a good guy, he got powers, and then all of a sudden the power went to his head, and he thought
Mm,
that he could just control everything and you know demand that people do what they're supposed to do according to what he says they're supposed to do.
yep.
And I was
Yep.
like, well, yeah, you're my evil paladin for the week.
So, so the idea of shifting a paladin, shifting from one of the obviously Oathbreaker is the classic one of like, hey, you were a paladin,
Hmm.
you fell, you started worshiping something evil, you came under control of something evil there, became an Oathbreaker. But there's a fun one, there's a great example of a paladin. I mean, I would say a paladin monk in a way I would call this here, but Zuko. from Avatar: Last Airbender. That was a conquest paladin, I would say. Very much like I will be in charge. I will hunt down the Avatar, um, the from the Fire Nation. He was very much that I will be the leader of my people. I will be the one taking over here. But at the in the last season there, I would say he shifted to Redemption Paladin. He did a redemption arc there, and he literally wanted to then make up for the things that he had done in the past, and became more helpful to the cause, rising up against the people against his father and everything of what he would done before here. So the idea of taking someone on a conquest bent and then changing their oath part way down to become redemption, um, or the idea of um, maybe they're a crown paladin and they serve a country, and the country falls, and now they are maybe they shift from crown to conquest because now they want to retake the country that's fallen, and the person they served is gone. So there's some very interesting ways to go, and from a role playing standpoint, there I think it's really fun that hey, story wise or anything else that my oath doesn't work anymore. You don't have to just go, oh, you're an oath breaker and now you're evil.
Right.
Like you can shift an oath that makes sense for the story. And so it's something to kind of keep in mind here for your players. They come to you say, or if the plot of the campaign is going in a direction where that oath doesn't work anymore, rather than saying, okay, well, character leaves, or I can't do this anymore, my character doesn't fit, you could work it into the story how they would adjust to, and even changing their
Mhm.
oath to fit more in a way it's sort of like I mean Brad Channington obviously wasn't even a paladin to start with. I
No,
don't think.
no,
um
he was a fighter turned into paladin by the end of
yeah,
the first grouping, and then by the time you met him, he was a full evil paladin. Now,
yeah,
Sora at
yeah.
one point, I was thinking about changing her devotion. Um,
Hmm.
about the point when you remember in Everest when we all died, we were
Hmm.
trying to save Kiva. At that point, I went, maybe we change Sora's devotion. Because remember at that point, that's when I had asked you about
Hmm.
maybe subclassing into fighter, and we
Hmm.
had started
Yeah,
working that in. Um,
yeah, yeah.
and that actually that was where I was thinking about maybe she was going to move into a conquest fighter or conquest paladin or even a champion paladin.
Hmm.
Because at that point, and isn't champion the one that's mounted?
No, I'm not sure.
Is that the
You're
fighter
the
one?
fighter, I think. Yeah,
Fighter.
champion
Okay, yeah.
fighter. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I was thinking about moving her to Conquest Paladin and a Champion Fighter because she was on her mount
Mm,
90% of the time. We were going
sure.
everywhere. So, like, I was like, maybe I just shift to that. And then we kind of settled in with the Battle Master Fighter for a little bit.
Hmm.
And then the story shifted again and we went Rune Knight. And I absolutely loved her as a Rune Knight. She was perfect for that fit.
Yeah, yeah. Does and that's the thing, to allow characters to shift and move. It makes so much sense in a story because again, people aren't locked in. Characters do change and evolve over time, and so the idea that it could now obviously multi-classing is one way to deal with that.
Hmm.
Just kind of shifting your entire focus there, still martial focus, but a
Hmm.
different set of abilities you're working on there. That's a really good idea for multi-classing, but it can also even shifting your subclass within your given class there is a great way. And I think paladins kind of had that built in.
Hmm.
Oaths can change over time. In fact, most of us, oaths do change over time. Things become more of a priority over time when you have a family. Your oath is now more to protecting your family as it was before when you were just like I want to take on the world as a young dumb teenager and everything else that. But then your oaths do change over time, and so paladins I think are the ones that's kind of baked into their class
Hmm.
of what makes sense. Um, when a paladin is, let's say you're conquest paladin going in trying to take over this ancient forest and wipe out um, all these fae folk and elves and pixies and stuff like that, and then kind of find out that you're the villain in the situation here, and they're not the bad guys. So
Mm-hmm.
then changing from conquest to oath of ancients, and now you're going to defend the forest. You don't need to take levels in druid; just shift your oath, and you'll get more druidic type abilities. Um, that makes a very fun story, I think, too. Um, now, so Sora was Paladin fighter.
Mm-hmm.
And are there any other Paladins multi-classes you worked with
I
or played?
I did. We were severely lacking in the ability to unlock things. We had no wizard and we had no rogue. So, and scrolls in the world that we were playing in didn't exist. So,
Great.
yeah. So, I asked if I could move into Paladin, take 2 levels of rogue, just so that I
Sure.
could have a decent ability to be able to unlock a door or find a trap. And to make it work, the DM asked me what my feats were, and I had just happened to take Dungeon Delver as one of my feats.
Nice.
And he said, "You know what? Because you took that feat already, we're gonna let you have a rogue." So
Okay.
it didn't work like the only reason I made that paladin a rogue was because we could not find traps and we could not unlock doors or chests or anything,
Sure.
right? And like the skills level of being able to roll anything higher than a 2 was a port with this group. We just could not do it. So I was like, Just 2 levels of rogue should be fine." And the last 2 levels of paladin until the 6th edition came out were just they weren't something to look forward to. I mean, you get the
No.
Anubis cloud. Yay.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. High level classes, and that's a whole different story in terms of like what the capstone abilities. We haven't talked about capstone abilities of classes because I mean, really, 90% of the campaigns we play in don't go all the way to 20. I
correct.
mean,
Hmm.
mine only went to 18. Yours are going to 20, but
Yes, all mine go to
um,
20, but because I want them to go to 20,
yeah,
honestly, we can have them stop at like 16, 17, and have just as good an ending as we would if they were 20. So, but
yeah,
I like getting them to 20 just so that people can see what those 20 abilities are, because a lot of players never get there. They never get to use
hmm
those level 20 abilities. And I
yeah,
think with the new edition, they balance out a little bit better now, because
yeah.
you
I think
get
so.
those masteries in there and the special. There's a reason to get to 20 now, not just because you want to be all powerful deity.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. It's interesting because yeah, the high level play is oftentimes um, most people don't see it, but when you do, it's like and you see your 20th level ability and going, I can do what? Oh, that's not, I mean, I was able to do that 10 levels ago. What are you talking about?
Mhm. Mhm.
Like, oh boy, yay.
Mhm.
Um,
Or
so yeah, it's
as you're a paladin, you're watching people have all these great abilities, and you don't unlock level 1 spells until way later in the book. So like, and you don't go above level 5 spells as a paladin anyway. So like,
sure. Yeah,
watching wizards just cast fireball at 9th level is like, okay, so what's the point of me,
fifth,
right?
fifth level, fifth level.
I'm talking about 9th level spell
Oh
slots,
yeah, yeah,
right?
okay, okay, gotcha. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, like so,
But it's
like,
all and that, yeah,
what's the point of having a paladin around if you're just gonna have a wizard go in with fireball at 9th level and just done? See you later, bye.
well, that comes down to what the role of the paladin is. Paladin really is just they've got a little bit of healing,
Hmm.
a little bit of like crowd control, typically things like that.
Hmm.
They can buff their allies with their auras, um, uh, and and they have that martial ability. So I think that it's one of those things where paladins oftentimes find themselves in a weird niche.
Hmm.
Like I'm not straight up as good at combat right now as the fighter is, but um
Give me a couple
like
levels.
give you a couple levels, and so obviously now the big equalizer in the past, the big equalizer for paladins, of course, is smite
Hmm.
and some of their other like magical abilities and everything else that. And I will say, I know it's a big controversy here, Paladins and Smite, with the 2024 edition there, they're limiting how much smiting you can do
Kind of
because
like
good
it
God.
though. I kind of like it
I
though. Like,
I do too, because I mean, it's one of those things where it was like, okay, rogues get to add a bunch of D6s to
mhm,
one attack.
mhm, mhm,
Paladins can add like, okay, well, I can add 2, 4, 5 D8 to every single attack I
mhm,
make
mhm. And God
until I run
forbid
out
they
of spell
crit.
slots. Oh my God, yeah. Well, that's the whole thing is you would oftentimes fish for a crit
Uh-huh.
because you could declare your smite after you hit.
Exactly.
So, oh, I rolled a 20. Yes, I'm going to smite
Might.
now.
Yeah.
And so that's where it's like it was just so broken.
Yep.
And so when you
And
have bunch of attacks there, and any one of them hit the 20, boom, you're off and running.
that's why when we were playing with Sword going through the undead areas with you, I was very careful about how I did my smites because I knew my undead on if I rolled it and then smite it does more damage because it's an undead. So like I'm like I don't want to just
Hmm.
like it's not just your fun I'm ruining by doing that. It's also other players who aren't going to get a chance to play.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times it came up to Sora's turn, but the player before me had killed all the monsters and they were done. I'm like, well, I didn't get to go. That's
Okay.
okay
Yeah.
because you know what's going to happen? Turn undead and watch what happens now. Now nobody gets to play because you made Sora upset.
Yep.
but but like it they I will say paladins once you get to 5th level, they become so stacked with things that they can do.
Yep.
Not just like the buffs for the auras, but just oh, you failed your save. You're within 30 feet of me. Add +5 to that because that's what my charisma score is.
Yep.
Like that's
Yep.
just cuz. So now it should make players want to stand near or at least close enough to the paladins to be able to get those buffs.
Yep.
They're bonkers, man. They're so bonkers at the higher level that it's for a DM and a player of a paladin. It's one of those things where I recognize that playing a paladin at 20th level and trying to DM for that is next to impossible. Wizards are limited to the spell slots that they have based off of the spells that they have, right? And they don't get to change them out like paladins do. Oh, I don't want to prepare any of those spells today. I get to repick all of my spells just because we long rested. And if that means that I'm putting on Searing Smites because I know we're in zombie territory, that that kind of ruins the fun
Yep.
for everybody. So you have to paladins you have to balance once you start to see that the scale is start tipping, you have to balance it because then nobody has fun.
Yeah. And it's one of those like paladins. Oftentimes, I kind of joke around the paladins being they're the encounter ender.
Hmm.
Like in a way, when you have in designing encounters as a DM, when you have a paladin in the party, you never throw all your eggs in one basket.
You can't.
You just cannot
Mm-mm.
because a single enemy is going to get smited into the ground, smote, smut, smitten, whatever. However,
Hashtag
it is going to
smite.
get blasted into the ground
Uh-huh.
by that smite ability. And I mean, how many times I was like, okay, Sorg went ahead and hit and crit, and I'm gonna smite at third level, and boom, and suddenly it's like, okay, that's 120 damage
Hmm. Hmm. Often.
from one hit, from a single hit.
Yes.
Great.
And then,
Um,
if the
the
weapon had
yeah,
special abilities on top of that, because,
mm-hmm,
I had that
yeah,
holy hammer that was oh so nice. Like, but
yeah,
like at the same
oh yeah,
time, it's not just what the paladin can do, it's the weapons and the magic items that you've given the paladin because, well,
hmm,
one, we're nice DMs and they should have really cool things.
yeah. Well, and it's one of I mean, like in old school D&D, your gear was what made you different from somebody else.
Hmm.
Like having that powerful sword, having that cool armor, that's what defined you as I am this fighter or that fighter. I am this paladin or that cleric. Pretty much everyone has the same abilities, same base level bonuses. It's what equipment have you gained along the way that make you distinct in some fashion. So, really, when it comes down to paladins, it's now it's more about who they are, what they can do. Equipment isn't as necessary, but it's still an important part of them. it could be a signature thing. It can be how that works out there. But the main thing with paladins is recognizing the fact they're going to burst for a lot of damage. You're gonna see big hits like that. It's bound to happen. It's same as a rogue. You have a rogue in the party there, they get that crit, that sneak attack is applied there, and suddenly, boom, they're doing 100 damage in a single hit. And that lich with 95 hit points, gone. One shot.
Yep.
Unless you have some way of mitigating that. And so a lot of times an encounter design there for a DM is that you have to plan for that. Like what can lower that damage or what can mitigate that damage so that isn't like, especially if the bad guys know there's a paladin in the party,
Mhm.
like they advance their if they know who the party is, they can plan for that.
Mhm.
Like and that's where suddenly you go, oh, you crit, no, silvery barbs do it.
Mhm.
Like, oh
Mhm.
no. I mean, it it's petty, but it also works. Or, oh, there's a reaction ability for this ally that can block some of the damage or take some of the damage. Or, I mean, and those make for fun encounters. And so the big hit happens, something cool really happens, but it isn't like, okay, encounter done.
Right. Right. In the game that you were playing in, the black mage, the dark mage, whatever I called it,
Hmm.
um,
Yeah,
he had some really unique abilities at the beginning because I knew you guys were at the time you had Autumn, who had some really cool like, no, I can just say no to that. So I had him start out as this mage who was able to stop time, which tied in with the time dragons that you guys ended up playing with at the end. But like, he
sure.
could stop time. But essentially, when I was creating him originally, I was going to have him as a paladin that had the ability to say no to smites. He had a
No.
magic item on him that just said, yeah, you can cast smite. It just doesn't hold any effect on
Hmm.
him.
Yeah.
Now, that is something that players can tell because when you describe the bosses at the end, usually when you describe a boss, you're describing what they're wearing, what they look like, how they're talking, the whole monologue of what the evil bad guy is doing. And it was going to be one of those things where I said he has this bright green brooch on his chest that it lights up. And every time you smite him, it was absorbing it into the brooch. And then, had he had
Hmm.
10 smites on him, it was going to explode, killing, well, hopefully killing everybody. But you ended up
Sure.
not playing with him. You ended up playing with somebody else. So I shifted.
Sure.
And, as we do
Yep.
as DMs.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
You can go
yeah.
that route. Um, Yeah, and so that brings up some interesting things here, and we're getting close to time here on this one. But um, one is paladins are an odd class because charisma is their spellcasting stat,
Hmm.
and some of their like aura abilities are based around that charisma,
Hmm.
but they're a martial class. So there's this whole thing of like, well, I'm either strength or a dex-based paladin. Interesting
Hmm.
concept there. Your paladin rogue, I'm like, was he a dex-based paladin or was he rocking around in heavy armor but still
He
picking locks?
he was a dex-based paladin.
Okay, good. That
Because
works.
that
Yeah,
was total accident. I for some reason
sure,
clicked the wrong box, but it just happened to work.
sure. I mean, so the idea is that again, like fighters can be dex based or strength based here.
Hmm.
Paladins the same way. There's also the overly used, crazy, like everybody does this at some point or other, is the Hexblade Paladin.
Yep.
Because now you throw all your eggs into that charisma bucket
Hmm.
because now your attack, your damage bonus all comes off your charisma. And you still want to have some armor class, so but the whole thing is that strength or dex doesn't matter anymore. So you have a dude trucking around in magical full plate,
Hmm.
but but has enough strength to be able to carry that, but that's about it. All attacks are based off of his charisma, and suddenly you're just like wading into things with this massive two-handed sword charisma base. Yeah.
I had
Um,
a paladin who told me he was not going to put any points than he had to inside of charisma, put it in strength and con. He
great.
had he
And
had
be
a
a fighter.
That's what I asked. I was like, why don't you just play a fighter? Nope, I want to be able to heal and be a druid. I
then
Didn't understand
yeah, take a
why.
level or two of cleric.
Right? Like I was trying to figure out
Like,
where he was going, and he was the guy who was playing the evil paladin.
gotcha.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, lay on hands does this is just based off your paladin level. It doesn't matter. Your charisma doesn't matter in that case.
Nope.
I mean, so I mean, and again, you look through your abilities and see what do I get from this
Mhm.
that will help. Like, because the idea is that if I'm taking, like, if I'm smiting, I don't care about using my spell slots for charisma based attacks or anything else. That
Mhm.
I mean, I can use buff abilities, like I can use my Shield of Faith on myself
Mhm.
and get a +2 to my AC. That doesn't care about charisma.
Nope.
Um,
Sure doesn't.
so but depending on the route you go, it could work. I mean, and it's interesting to see how that would work out there. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
paladins are weird in their ability points because they
yeah,
need to have strength. They have to have charisma because that's their spell casting.
hmm
But they have to have constitution to be able to take the hits that they're designed to take. And then you have to have some wisdom to be able to, kind of shrug off some of the spell casting that's going to be put on them because hello,
yeah.
big shiny paladin in the middle of the field.
Well, you can get around that a little bit by having that or of
Hmm.
courage applies to yourself. So you add your
Hmm.
charisma modifier to all your spells.
Right.
So you don't need as much wisdom in that case, but having a bad wisdom is not a good idea,
Mm,
obviously.
should not be your dump
Um,
stat. Mm.
yeah, no. So strength or dex, con, charisma. Paladins oftentimes, I mean, intelligence can be a dump stat, but that can be a bad thing for you to be.
Hmm.
I mean, it's weird because yeah, it's one of those things of they're a class that depending on how you build them and how you want to play them, they really can be stat hogs, and they need decent in every stat. There's and that although that lends them really lends themselves to multi-classing as well
Hmm.
because obviously a paladin sorcerer is a really fun combination where basically you have some sorcery abilities that are based on charisma as well. And so you have a good charisma, so that your paladin abilities and your sorcerer abilities are doing really well. And you have whatever attack abilities you have. Um, I don't think I've ever seen, it dawned on me, I've never seen a paladin who wasn't a combat person.
It's weird. Like, why
It's,
pick
I,
paladin
I,
though?
I, well, I'm looking at going, okay, so I do it a protection based fighter. My spell casting, if it's all about like buffing and helping my allies,
Hmm.
I mean, you can do that with cleric, but paladin has some really cool abilities around that aspect here as well. So I don't. It'd be interesting to see like the idea of like I just my aura is keeping my friends alive here. I am taking the hits for things. I'm not delivering the damage. I am crowd control and party buff and secondary healer. I could. It'd be interesting to see what that would look like. Um,
I mean, that's kind
because
of how I wanted Sora to be, but ended up not being able to do that because technically she was the only frontline fighter.
yeah,
So she had to
and
be able to
nobody else
hit
ate
stuff.
close. Yeah.
Yeah, nobody else would get
Yeah,
close. Yeah,
Hirsch was the same way. I was a battle master fighter with Sentinel and polearm master.
that's gross.
And then I had the level of the paladin on top of that. So, so um, and so it was like it was really crazy because but again, I was the only person getting in anyone's face.
Hmm.
So I was literally getting up there and like I am taking all the hits. The rogue is firing a crossbow back there.
Hmm.
We have a mage who's not getting anywhere near the fight. We've got a gloomstalker ranger over here who's getting nowhere near the fight. He's shooting things with a bow. And so oftentimes it was me and the cleric handing like the up front there because the cleric's in full plate, same as me. So
Their
like,
AC is 18, just as good as the paladin. Let me
yeah,
tell you.
yeah,
Yeah.
he actually, yeah, and he was a knowledge cleric. Yeah, which in this campaign we were very much an investigation based campaign. We were
Okay.
monsters of the week, hunting down monsters, trying to solve the mystery what's going on there. So a knowledge cleric really made sense for the campaign. It was invaluable to the party of that. But it meant he wasn't really. He had like very little offensive abilities. He was all pretty much buff, knowing things, and healing. And so it was very interesting having that kind of person there. But he'd be up there basically heal heal on me because I'm taking all of the hits because nothing can get by me. If it
Yep.
tried to go after somebody else, I'm like, nope, stay here. I
Hmm.
have a pole arm and sentinel, so you're not getting past me.
10-foot reach. You're not going that far out and
Yep.
around unless you go way out the way.
Oh, and as soon and once bait and switch came out there, I was like, okay, yeah, hit my guy next to you. I swear, go for it.
Hmm.
Bait and switch. Now I have a 28 AC. Have fun with that one.
Hmm. Hmm. We tried that with Sora for a little bit
Yep.
when Esk was there, but he just didn't. He
He
wanted to
kept running
pretend to be
off.
a paladin as well. So, you know,
Yep. Yeah. So,
you can't make
well,
players
I
do
think
other things.
no, we cannot. But I think we're pretty much out of time here. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up.
Mhm.
And we'll get this posted up tomorrow at our usual time. Should be around 5:30 somewhere Pacific time. We'll get that loaded up. But our next one in a couple weeks will be Ranger, right?
Yes,
Paladin, then yep.
paladin, then ranger, then
So
rogue.
okay. So
We're gonna like rogues.
um,
Love rogues.
oh yeah,
Love rogues.
rogues are one of my favorites. I absolutely love rogues.
Yeah.
But I do like rangers too. Rangers are one of the problematic classes there, so we'll talk about them. Rangers have a lot of flavor, just have an issue with mechanics, and
Hmm.
so um, we'll talk about rangers more in concept and in practice, and so and things you can kind of do to make rangers work in a game there. So, but anyway, that's what we'll do next time here. Um, thanks for watching there, you folks in the future. Thanks for hanging out with me, Nans.
Yeah, no problem.
Um, and hopefully you'll get some good smiting out there and some good uh, fulfilling your oath out there in your campaigns. Um, enjoy your paladins and hopefully do some butt kicking for goodness.
Yeah, definitely.
So, all right. So, thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. Anytime you're welcome at the Temple Tankard anytime. Drinks are on us. So, stop by and hang out, and we'll see you again soon. Have fun, folks.